Okay. Please let me know once you are able to see my screen. Okay.
We are able to see.
Perfect. So before talking about WVD, I would like to give you a brief introduction on tech data. So we at Tech Data are a leading global distributor with 45 years of experience in distribution landscape. We are global distributor for Microsoft along with many other line cards. And Tech Data is working very closely with Etna. They are our esteemed partner in South region, and together we are helping partners to migrate to Azure. These are the few tiles about our Tech Data which you can see on screen. So not wasting time, I'll move ahead directly to Windows Virtual Desktop. So our today's agenda is gonna be on WVD, which is a secure remote workplace. So we'll be first we'll have an introduction on Microsoft Azure, what Azure is. Then the challenges in traditional IT setup. If we use the traditional IT setup as a work from home solution, then what kind of challenges do we have to face? And how do we solve these challenges with the help of virtualization? And on top of this virtualization layer, Windows Virtual Desktop is hosted. And once we discover what Windows Virtual Desktop is and how it can help, then we will talk about the architecture of Windows Virtual Desktop to deploy the solution, what all things you would require, what all services you would require, and licenses you would require. Then I will just give you a brief on licensing. When we do WVD, what kind of licensing is available, and if these licensing are available with you, then most of the customers are pretty eligible of using WVD. Then I'll give you a quick demo, user level demo, that if a company is going to use WVD, how a user can access virtual desktop. Okay, so this will be the agenda for today. So let's start with a brief introduction on Microsoft Azure. Okay. Okay. So at its core, Azure is a public cloud computing platform with a solution including infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service that can be used for services such as virtual computing, storing data on cloud, virtual networking, doing analytics on your data, legacy data which you have done, creating cloud-based application or creating an intelligent application which you can host on cloud. Right now, this cloud can be used to replace or supplement your on-premise servers. Now, quickly, I would like to touch upon few quick facts about Azure. First thing is flexible. Azure is flexible. Customer can move compute resources up and down as needed, which means that if you have deployed a single virtual machine of 2 core 8 GB, you can scale it up to 4 core 16 GB or n number of core to n number of RAM, and you do not need to do again and again installation and all. It will be done in one click. Just a pretty restart would be required, and you can upscale and downscale your virtual machine. Now the best part of Azure flexibility on Azure is the scaling offered in Azure is the both type of scaling is available in Azure. Horizontal scaling is also available and vertical scaling is also available. Now, second point I would like to cover is it is open. So since it is from Microsoft family, so most of the customers thinks that Microsoft will only allow Windows operating system on their cloud, but it is not like that. It is open source. It support open source operating system, language, tool, and framework. All these things. So if you talk about Ubuntu, CentOS, Red Hat, SUSE Linux, all these operating system, open source operating systems are available on Azure. Okay, so it is open as well. So open language as well as Java, Node.js, .NET, all Python, all these languages are supported, and you can work with your level of tool, whatever you want to integrate with Azure. That is pretty available over here. Third thing is reliable. It offers you up to 99.99% availability, which is backed by a service level agreements, and offers you 24 by 7 tech support. So whenever you have any support required, you can directly raise a ticket to Microsoft with the help of your partner, which is Etna in this case. When I say 99.99% availability, it means that for a year you can have maximum of 4 minutes of downtime of your application. If you have hosted database on cloud, platform as a service database on cloud, so maximum downtime you can get is 4 minutes. If you have downtime more than 4 minutes, you can raise a service level agreement ticket to Microsoft, and Microsoft will give you some credits for the business impact losses and all. Now, fourth point I would like to talk about is global. So as customer choose any data center out of, sorry, any region out of 54 regions spanned across the globe and host their application and data. Example, if there is an Indian based company and their customers are sitting in US and they want to have a customer facing application deployed on cloud, so they can choose US data center and host their application in nearby their clients, so which will increase the performance in cloud and decrease the latency of that particular application for their user. Now come, it is economical. You only pay for what you use. So if you are using virtual machine on cloud, so you can pay whenever you are using it, and the time when you are not using it you can shut it down, and that's how you can minimize the cost. Another way to minimize the cost is that if you are using a virtual machine for 24 by 7, so you can commit to Microsoft saying that, okay, I'll use this virtual machine for a whole year or maybe for 3 years. Please just let's do a reserve. Let's reserve this virtual machine for me. So when you reserve this virtual machine and give commitment to Microsoft, you can bring down your cost from 40 to 60%. Okay, of monthly cost. And it's not mean, so when you reserve, it does not mean that you have to pay upfront. You only reserve, you only give commitment at the time of reservation, and the payment will be done on monthly basis as well, but you do have option to pay upfront as well. Okay, further you want to optimize the cost, then if you have a active license, if you have a Windows license or SQL license with software assurance, active software assurance with that particular license, you can use that license on cloud as well. Okay, so you can move your licensing, operating system licenses or application licenses to cloud too. Another fact, an interesting fact I would like to talk about is 80% of Fortune 500 companies are using Azure services for their cloud computing needs. I'm not talking about O365, they are purely using Azure. Around 80% of Fortune 500 companies are purely using Azure because Microsoft offers SLA and it is a trusted company. So most enterprise level company go with a trusted vendor who offer them, compliances, security, and the trust behind that particular thing. So next, I would like to talk about the regions. So Microsoft Azure has 54 plus regions. So when I say region, it does not means a data center. Region means a set of data center deployed within a latency defined parameter and connected through a dedicated regional low latency network. Means, let's suppose if I say South India data center, it does not means that the South India region, it does not mean that there is only one data center in South India. It means that in a span of low latency defined perimeter, I said, right? So means like in this area of 10-kilometer radius, there will be multiple data center, multiple facilities, physical data center, and these data center will be connected with low latency network. So it offers you very high speed performance and high availability because your servers are not sitting in a single data center, they are spanned across multiple premises. So this is how a region is meant by Microsoft Azure. So when we say South India, it means it is comprises of more than 2 or 3 data centers. Okay. So Azure, to explain it more, Azure Global Infrastructure is made up of 2 key component: physical infrastructure and connective network component. Physical component all over the world I'm talking about. So physical component, which is meant by data center. So out of this 54 regions, there are 160 plus physical data center in these 54 plus regions, and they are arranged into regions like South India, Central India, West India, and they are linked by one of the largest interconnected network on the planet with the connectivity of Azure Global Network. So all these regions or data centers are connected with a network, and this network provide very high availability of these data centers, give you low latency for your application or the data which you have kept on Azure, and offers you scalability in terms of deploying application on cloud. So this is all about the regions what Microsoft offers. Let's move ahead to the security part of it. So when we come to Microsoft, they have bifurcated their security in these three parts: infrastructure protection, network protection, and data protection. So sorry, we at Microsoft offers you, layer by layer approach security, which means that just securing your infrastructure by installing antivirus won't make your application or your IT footprint secure. There are multiple layers to your IT infrastructure to make it secure. Like if I talk about layer, first level of layer would be the network. Second level of layer would be the virtual machine on top of that network virtual machine, or you can talk about the servers, right, physical machines. Then on top of that comes data, how the data is being secured. Then on top of it comes application, right, how these applications are being getting secured. So these layer by layer approaches followed by Microsoft, and Microsoft has crafted n number of services for each of these layer to make it more secure. So first, I will talk about infrastructure as a service. Infrastructure protection. In this infrastructure protection, first thing, if I talk about physical security of that particular data center, so Microsoft has a number of security measures applied to their physical data center. Like if you want to access their data center, you have to you have to request and get it approved, then only you can visit the data center. Microsoft even does not disclose the location of that particular data center, where let's suppose if you want to visit South India, first of all you have to request to Microsoft person, or maybe a Microsoft person in your local I would say like in South region or Bangalore region, you have to connect with a Microsoft person, and this guy will help you to approve your request, and then you will be able to visit the data center. Not everyone can visit. Then comes the perimeter. They have there is a facility perimeter, means there will be a barricading out of this. Fencing would be done outside this data center. Then there is security level of checks are there at the within before this fencing. Then after that there is biometrics check. Then data center floor, after biometrics check also, when you enter the facility, you are not authorized to access the data center floor. You can only see it, right? You can only view it, you cannot get into it if you are a visitor. So this level of physical security they have applied to their physical data center. If you want to have more information on how this physical data center is being secured, you can just go to the YouTube, and Microsoft has released this video of a tour of that data center and how secure it is. So you can just go through it. It is 10 to 15 minutes of video, pretty good video to see for data center security and all. So this was the physical level of security. And if we talk about the virtual security of infrastructure, first thing comes to our mind is firewall. So virtual level of firewall is available in terms of Azure infrastructure. So you can use firewall. There are a number of services which can help you to secure your infrastructure. Moving to network protection, out of the box, Microsoft gives you network security group. We call it NSGs. With the help of this NSGs, you can deny the inbound and outbound port of a particular server or a particular subnet on that particular network. So this network security groups will help you to filter out the traffic, port-based traffic and IP-based traffic. So it is out of the box free service to help you make your infrastructure secure. Then comes virtual networks. In virtual networks, these virtual networks are more or less same like your local networks, but only the thing is that it is available on cloud, so that's why we call it virtual network. Now if you want to connect your virtual network cloud network with on-premises network, so with the help of VPN gateway, you can establish a site-to-site connectivity, and you can connect your cloud network with your local network, right? You have an ability to connect your local laptop with cloud network as well. With the point to site VPN gateway, you can do that. Express route is a solution. So if an enterprise has hosted his all of the data, be it critical, sorry, or it is non-critical on cloud, and they want to have a very low latency speed and very performant, and they want to connect it 24 by 7 kind of an SLA they want to have, then express route is comes in picture. Express route is a private line between your data center, between your office premise and Azure. So there will be a line in between, physical line between Azure data center and your company. This line will be set it up with third party vendor like TCS, sorry, not TCS, Tata Communications or Airtel. So these are the two vendors in Mumbai who offers express route. Depending on the location, Microsoft will help you if you want to have an express route set it up in. And this express route will give you private connection. So without the help of, without the need of internet, you can directly connect to Azure. And this express route will be the line or the pipe through which you will be connecting to your application on data hosted on Azure. Now, if we talk about data protection, Microsoft offers you data encryption at transit as well as rest. So whenever you are uploading data or backing up data using Azure Backup Service, you're backing up your on-premise laptop, on-premise server, or on-premise device using Azure Backup. So the data which is moving, pulled by this backup service on the internet, that will be encrypted in transit while it is uploading. Once it is sitting on, once it is uploaded on cloud, then again it is also encrypted at the rest. Now the encryption key could be managed by Microsoft. Out of the box, it is managed by Microsoft. But if a company wants to have his own encryption key, want to have their own encryption key, yes, they have that option too. Now, this is all about the security. In Microsoft, there are multiple other services. This was the only tip of the iceberg. There are multiple other services which you can integrate with your applications to make it more secure. Like application gateway are there, Azure front door, the services there, just-in-time access is there, security center is there. There are multiple services. Quickly, I would like to touch upon the compliances part of it. And Microsoft takes pride in their compliance offering because Microsoft is the only cloud which offers 100 plus compliances. Now, these compliances are spanned between country geographical specific compliances as well as industry specific compliances. So, including over 50 specific to global region, they have compliances like global region and countries. Example, they have Indian based compliances, they have US based compliances, there's European, Japan, UK. So these level of country based compliances they also offer. And if I talk about industry specific, they have 35 plus compliances. And these industries could be, if I give an example of industries based industries, that could be healthcare, government, finance, or manufacturing, or media. To give you an example of, for Indian compliances, India based compliances, if you want to deal in government sector, the government will always ask you that if is your cloud provider mighty compliant. So yes, Microsoft Azure is mighty compliant. If you are dealing with any financial firm in India, like any PSU bank or any Sehkari, Janta Sehkari Bank or any bank, you want to move their services on Azure, or if there is any use of application hosting application or data on cloud. So yes, Azure offers RBI and IRDIA compliance, which is pretty necessary when you are dealing with financial firms in India. Okay, these level of compliances are available for for general compliance, like let's suppose hospital industry, you have HIPAA compliance. For finance, PCI, DSS, these compliances are there. For general industries, ISO and SOC compliances are required, so these are also available. Okay, so this was about compliances. So, so we have covered Azure introduction. Now I would like to move ahead and would like to talk about the challenges, or I will walk you through a scenario. Let me just change the slide. Okay. I'll walk you through a scenario when we use our traditional IT setup as a work from home solution. When I say traditional IT setup means the setup which we used to work on when we used to go office, right? When we used to physically go to office, and then we used to connect our laptop with Wi-Fi office network, or either Wi-Fi or using LAN cable, and then we used to work on the, file server. We used to create this shared data and all. And if we are using similar kind of setup as a work from home solution after pandemic or during pandemic, what kind of challenges did we face or we can face in future as well? So if you can see this, slide in front of you, you can see that there are two premises. One is office premise, another is home. At the moment, user has gone to office. They have connected their laptop to their servers, and they are working on this, office premises, and everything is working perfectly fine because user is in office network. Security is there. User is, working properly. He's getting performance because it is working on a LAN cable itself, and services in the premise, so data security is also there. Now, if you see, during lockdown, when lockdown happened, that particular time office got closed and user was sitting at their home, right? And they didn't have access to their PCs. Like out of 100 users in India, only 40 were given laptop. Rest of 60% user were using desktop. So their system was on office premises. They were not able to access their system. They were not able to work. Then company thought that let's give the employees of a desktop. Let's ship their desktop to their home. So companies gave them shipped their desktop to home. In our company also, in my previous organization, the back office people who used to work on this PCs and all, they our company shipped their PC to their home. And the people who were using laptops like us, we were working on laptop, but we were not able to access the company based file server because it was only accessible when we go to the office. But at home we were not able to access it. We were only, since we were hosted on hosted on O365, so we were able to access mails, we were able to do teams, we were able to add our data on OneDrive, but we were not able to access our shared folder which was sitting in office premises. That kind of problem we were facing. But anyway, we got at the moment we got the system access. Now in this system, any internet based application were working perfectly fine. But if any company had a shared file folder and they wanted to access that shared file folder, they were not able to access. And the data which they had created for on their history with their clients, they were not able to access it because they had a plain laptop. In that particular laptop, they had only access to the mails or internet facing applications. Now, to solve this problem, IT team of the companies, what they did is, since they bought VPN licenses. So with the help of VPN licenses, they were able to give uh, access of files to user. Now user were able to access files from server to their, in their home with the help of VPN client as well. Now, now this was a proper traditional setup, right? VPN server is sitting in local, data is stored in local server. Now user is accessing that particular server using a LAN cable. Here, what they did is just with the help of VPN gateway, they make that file server public, and using VPN client, they were accessing it from home. This is what the traditional setup was. Now, if user A wants to work on his user A folder, he has to first of all connect to VPN client. After VPN client, he has to click on that A file. That A file will get download from server to his laptop, and then it will open. If his internet connection is good enough, it will open in 1 or 2 minutes. If the internet connection is not good enough, he's using 3G or 2G or using his phone's hotspot, it might take up to 5 to 10 minutes to open just a 10 MB or 15 MB of Excel file. And generally, every user has around 20 to 50 MB of Excel file or Word, Excel, PowerPoint. So user was facing at this time, when they were using traditional IT setup as a work from home solution, they were facing connectivity issue, because it is very common in VPN to have bandwidth choked. And most of the company, out of 100% company, only 60 to 70% was able to procure VPN licenses. The rest of the company was just working standalone on their laptop. They were not able to give access to their data which was sitting on server. So they have faced huge business loss after once there was pretty relaxation on lockdown rule. They sent one or two guys to their office, switch on the server to maintain it. After that, they were able to access the server, and then they migrated it to cloud. This is how it happened. Now, in this kind of a scenario, risk of data leakage is increased because user is sitting in their home and connected to their network. Now that network is not secure, right? In home, if you see, if you're sitting in your home and you're connected, you are connecting to your network, to your Wi-Fi. You don't have firewall in your home. You just have Wi-Fi what do you call it, router kind of a thing sitting on your home. It is not secure enough. Your ISV can track whatever data you are accessing, whatever history you are doing. So the network provider is your home network is pretty open. So if there is an open network and the file if there is critical file which is getting opened in home network, there are possibilities of leakage of data, because the network is open. And you must have heard about man in the middle attack. So this type of scenario helps that hackers to mitigate this no, to do this man in the middle attack. And user can hack your router, and then they can spy on the data which you are accessing from the office premises. Now this increased the maintenance, because one other thing was to maintain the VPN, and then after that VPN licensing cost, then the connectivity issue were very huge, so IT team were not able to maintain it properly. So it led to the increased overall cost. Like most of the company had to take third party support on firewall, on security, on connectivity issues kind of a thing, or managed service from the companies. So if you are using your traditional IT setup as a work from home, so there are many challenges. These are the few challenges which we have discussed about, but there are lot many others, because the solution currently which we are using is a solution for when we are going to office and then accessing the file server, then accessing those IT solutions. So when we come to when we are trying to leverage work from home solution, the only thing we should go ahead with the virtual is the terminology called virtualization. Now virtualization solves our most of the problems. Now if you leverage virtualization for your work from home solution, so these are the benefits which you get out of it. First of all, you get increased IT agility, flexibility, and scalability. So when we talk about this agility, flexibility, and scalability, we are saying that if you utilize Windows Virtual Desktop as a desktop management strategy for your business, employee has much better accessibility of apps and data, right? The reason is WVD can be the Windows Virtual Desktop, or Virtual Desktop can be accessed from any device. Okay, that can connect to internet. Any device that can connect to internet connection. So meaning regardless of your operating system, whether it is an Windows OS, or it is an Mac OS, or it is an Android, or it is an iOS, or any tablet. So you can access this virtual desktop from any device having any laptop, right? If you give this level of flexibility to your employee, so obviously, the productivity of that employee increases. So this is the level of uh, benefit you get. First level of benefit. Second benefit, what is there is lower operational cost. So when we say lower operational cost, it's just not a marketing gimmick, or we are just not saying it's lower operating cost saving is just not a buzzword, right? It Microsoft WVD does save businesses money. So, on premises, you invest in a lot of servers, you invest in a lot of hardware devices, and you work it on, and these devices are only, performant enough for down the line for 4 year or 5 year. So you are spending first and then using it, and you can only use it for down the line 4 to 5 years, not more than that. So rather than doing a capital investment, you can, subscribe to Windows Virtual Desktop and pay little by little bit, in monthly model, or maybe yearly model. Just give me a second. I'm just getting a call. Let me just. Sorry. So it saves, since you are subscribing to it, then you are only paying a minimal amount of it. Another thing is, virtual desktop users are only working in office hours, right? If you are if any company has, let's suppose, 10 employees, and they are only working 10 hours a day, generally the office timing is like 8 hours working, 1 hour lunch. So I can say that, okay, 10 hours a day, let's suppose 10 hours a day. So if a user is working 10 hours a day, we can, automate our virtual machine to work on that office times only. So rather than paying 24 by 7 for a particular machine, you will only pay for 10 hours a day. So when you do that kind of a model, the costing is always on lower side. And if you want to go ahead with 24 by 7, then with the help of reserve instance, as I said, like commitment for 1 year or 3 year, you can bring down the cost. So this is how you can save the cost when you deploy desktop solution on cloud, on Azure. Now you have another benefit which you get is greater workload mobility. Now it is similarly to the first option. Like when employees are not tied up to the physical laptop or desktop, they are much better, equipped to respond quickly to customer requests, because they can access their virtual desktop from anywhere, right? They can be very flexible. If there is any situation rises, if there is, if client is asking for some solution, some data, and the employee is on the go, right? So he has his phone, and using this phone he can access the virtual desktop, and from virtual desktop he can get out the data, pull out the data and send it to the employee, send it to their client. So this level of mobility, or flexibility, this employee is getting, and using that kind of a mobility, the productivity is also increased of that particular employee. Now, increased performance and availability of resources. First thing I would like to talk about availability. So availability in terms of WBD, out of the box, you get 99.9%. If there is one server, if there are multiple server, then 99.99% again. So the availability is always increased in terms of Windows Virtual Desktop. So you have only 4 minutes of downtime for a year if you have multiple servers hosted for Windows Virtual Desktop. Now the performance, if I talk about performance, Microsoft invest in every in their servers every 6 months. They refresh their server in every 6 months. The processors of the servers are always refreshed. Microsoft used to had only a few series like B series, D series, E series, F series. Now they have 4 or 5 series of E series only. So EAS series, V1, V2, V3, V4. Right now we are on V4, and V4 has latest processors. V4 comprises of two processors Microsoft is giving. If EAS series is coming, then AMD processors are there. If ES series with V4 is there, then Intel, Xenon processors are coming, new gen processors with hybrid threaded, technology behind them. So it is the next level of core and virtual core hybrid threading. So this level of performance you will get if you are leveraging the latest technology in the market. So it increase the performance as well. Availability is giving you money, SLA backed availability. Now it simplifies your IT management as well with the help of SLAs, with the help of Microsoft technical support, which is 24/7. You can manage this particular infrastructure on cloud. Most of it is already managed by Microsoft. The only thing we need to manage on cloud is the identity of user, the data what users are creating, and the application which will be hosted in this virtual desktop. Rest of the part is managed by Microsoft, the underlying hardware, the underlying electricity, the uptime of hardware, the connectivity between user and the server. It all is managed by Microsoft. The few things which customer has to manage, which is data, operating system and application on top of it, and the identity of the users, like user ID and password. So these are the things, these are the benefits which you can leverage when you virtualize your traditional IT setup on cloud. Now I would like to move ahead and talk about secure remote workplace solution from Microsoft, which is Windows Virtual Desktop. So Virtual Desktop is a remote desktop solution which help organization to leverage the benefit of working from anywhere using any device with the help of an internet connection. Now it is available on the go and easy to manage as underlying infra is managed by Microsoft, right? It is secure out of the box as user connect to the remote PC using HTTPS protocol. So when I say virtual desktop, it does not mean that I'm taking remote of the server using RDP. I'm not doing MSTSC on this setup. I am taking a remote of the server with the help of an application, and this application follows, application works on a protocol called HTTPS, which is a very secure protocol and offers, proper security in terms of getting virtual desktop. Now, if you have some security specific requirement, we can further enhance security by using third party security applications. Like if I use inbuilt Azure Active Directory premium licenses, then I can apply multi-factor authentication on this Windows Virtual Desktop. I can do conditional access on this virtual desktop. And if I have DLP requirements, so I can, get DLP solution from third-party vendors and use that DLP on this Windows Virtual Desktop, so user cannot send the data to unauthorized users. So that level of security measures can be applied on top of this Windows Virtual Desktop. Now, Windows Virtual Desktop gives you two types of experience. One is remote app access. You can, you can virtualize an application, then give access to the user. Another way is you can virtualize the whole desktop and then give it to the users, to your employees. Now, if we talk about virtual desktops, so under virtual desktops, you get two types of OS. One is client OS, another called server OS. Under client OS, you get Windows 10 with multi-session right? One server can be accessed by n number of people with the help of multi-session rights. Another operating system which you get in client OS is Windows 7. If any company has any legacy application which only runs on Windows 7, yes, you do have options of using secure Windows 7 on Azure with extended security updates till 2022. So with the help of this Windows 7, with the help of WVD, you can deploy this Windows 7 on cloud too. The only thing in Windows 7 is only one user can access this Windows 7. So if there are 10 users who want to access Windows 7, then there has to be 10 virtual machine, 10 personal machines for each user for Windows 7. Whereas for Windows 10, one single server can be shared by 10 users, or one-on-one can be given on Windows 10 too. Server OS, server OS pretty like from 20,000 R2 to 2016 are available. Yes, you can use 2008 with security, extended security updates as well. Okay, so these are the level of things which you get from Windows Virtual Desktop. Now, recently Microsoft have enabled optimization for this O365 on Azure. So if you have a virtual desktop and you want to, work on Microsoft Teams, so Teams are enhanced. So local desktop, microphone, and camera would be redirected to the virtual desktop, and there will be a very little latency. Earlier, the latency was huge, but Microsoft has optimized it for virtual desktop environment as well. So Teams works seamlessly on virtual desktop. OneDrive works perfectly fine, better than on-premise, I would say, because OneDrive is backed by Azure itself. So, and virtual desktop is on Azure, so you get unmatched performance when we talk about service-based applications. PowerPoint, Word, Excel, these application, these apps work seamlessly on cloud, right? And deploying this infrastructure would not take more time. It totally depends on if you just want to have Word, Excel, PowerPoint installed in Windows 10 operating system, you can directly you can deploy this application within a couple of hours. And if the users are increasing, you can scale in minutes, right? It had address your hybrid requirement. In short, if you have invested in your on-premise Active Directory, you can integrate that on-premise Active Directory with Windows Virtual Desktop, and you can use the same user ID and password to log into Virtual Desktop. So this is how it can become hybrid too. Now let's see the architecture of this Windows Virtual Desktop. If you see over here, there are three uh, uh, rectangles. In these three rectangles, we have defined that what will Microsoft manage, what we need to manage. So first thing, the web access tier, the diagnostic of this RDS environment, the RDS gateway, the load balancing of RDS, the broker, the management of that particular thing. This all is managed by Microsoft. Okay. The underlying thing, the compute, sorry, the storage, the networking, the uptime of these physical things, again, is managed by Microsoft. What we need to manage, as I said, we need to manage the identity part of it, like the domain controller we need to manage. We need to manage the data on that domain controller, or you can call it file server. And the third part is the operating system and the application on top of it. These things we need to manage. Rest of the part is managed by Microsoft. Now, to create a Windows virtual desktop solution for your user, what all things you require? If you can see on the left hand side, top left, you need an Azure subscription. You need client or server OS licenses. When I say client, so it might be Windows 10 or Windows 7, depending on your requirement. Or server OS licenses, you can directly you can use your own license if you have software assurance, or you can subscribe it from Microsoft. So Windows 2016, 2019, 2012, you can get it from Microsoft itself, right? The third thing you need is Azure on-premises Active Directory. I would say Active Directory. Either it is on premises, or if you don't have that Active Directory, we can set up a new Active Directory on cloud. Okay, and you would require a file server so that you can share the data among users. If you don't want to share the data among users, no problem. You do not need to have file server. Only Active Directory is sufficient for that particular thing. Okay, so these are the three high-level components what are required to deploy a Windows Virtual Desktop. And once you have these prerequisite check ready, after that we can deploy Windows Virtual Desktop. Now, most of the customers are already eligible for WVD. So if these customers have any of these licenses which are mentioned on the screen, like E3, E5, or F1, or Business Premium, or Enterprise E3, E5, so users are eligible for using virtual desktop without the having need of buying operating system license. They only need to buy virtual machine storage and networking on Azure. They will only pay for that particular thing. Rest operating system is already with them if these licenses have are with the customers. And in terms of server, if you are subscribing to Windows Virtual Desktop Server, then you would require RDS cal according to the number of users, because users will be taking remote of this particular server. So you would require RDS cal licenses for each users who is taking, who is going to access this virtual desktop. So this was about licensing. Now let me just show you a brief demo how users access virtual desktop. So this is the application, remote desktop application. Using this application, we log into the virtual desktop. How we do it? We just click on this. We click on subscribe. With the help of subscribe, it will ask me a username and password. Okay, in this username and password, I have already logged in with two accounts. Similarly, it will ask user ID and user password. Okay, so I have given two user over here, one user, two user. Now let's suppose, just a second. So there are two users. As I said, there is two level of access is given in remote desktop. One is desktop level access. Second is app level access. So first of all, I would like to show you desktop level access. Uh, let's just wait for it. Refreshing your feeds. Okay, refreshed. So this is D0 user, and I have given him an access of virtual desktop. I hope you all can see it. Let me just open it. If I want to work on my virtual desktop, I just click on it. It will connect to my desktop, and boom, I'll enter to my virtual desktop. And now I'll work on this virtual desktop. Okay, this is my cloud server. I'll work over here. So all my company based application I have installed over here. Now this is my company's info application. This is some other application. These are my storage appliances and all, something like that. Let's suppose, let me just show you the speed of internet which I get on virtual desktop. So every user is getting this 1 Gbps of speed, more than 1 Gbps, 1.2 Gbps, you can say. Similar level of speed. At the moment, you can see this many users are working on this virtual desktop, and this many users are disconnected. This is a single server shared by multiple users. Okay. So this is how a virtual session is taken for Windows Virtual Desktop. If you want to disconnect with it, if you can see, this is giving you a look-alike feel of you are working on, local desktop only, right? It is nothing new. The only thing is it is working virtually. It is not your local laptop. It is a cloud server, which you have taken access of. But it is same as you have logged on to your computer itself. I just go and disconnect it. Now this was the session, desktop virtual desktop session. Now I would show you the app, how we have virtualized the applications too. So if a company has, let's suppose they want to virtualize their application, they want to give access of Chrome to user, they want to access of Word, Excel, PowerPoint, or their in custom built applications like ERP, their internal ERP. Similarly, this customer has given this ERP of the ERP to their users. So in Windows Media Player, I'll just show you Windows Media Player. There is some challenge with my local laptop. I think there is some internet issue. Let me just reshare my screen again. I think there is some challenge with that particular application. For remote app, this user is not responding. The similar thing is we just take the session of a particular application. So rather than having the access of full virtual desktop, we take remote of a single application only. So the way we accessed virtual desktop, similarly we access a particular single application, and this application could be PowerPoint, this could be Windows Media Player, or it could be Chrome, right? It depends on what kind of access you want to give to your user. So this was a pretty short demo on Windows Virtual Desktop. Now I would like to just talk about our offer on Windows Virtual Desktop. Hope you all can see my screen. So at the moment, we are running in Windows Virtual Desktop Azure Experience offer, under which we are giving $250 of credit for our customers, where we will implement this Windows Virtual Desktop. We will deploy this Windows Virtual Desktop solution on this Azure infrastructure and give access to the customers for using it for a couple of weeks, maybe one or two, depending on the usage of it. Now, if you subscribe to this Windows Virtual Desktop, you for the first 90 days you get 30% discount on D series and B series virtual machines, right? If you subscribe it before 31st March. And another thing, if you get this Windows Virtual Desktop from Tech Data, we help you with tech support. We have a tech support, internal tech support. If we are not able to help you, we raise ticket to Microsoft and then give you support from Microsoft. We can help you in terms of migration as well from your on-premise. We can help you to migrate data to cloud too. Now it totally depends on what level of migration we have to do. If it's a short migration, then there won't be any implementation on migration charge. But if it takes a lot of man hours or man days, then there has to be some charge associated with it. Deployment up to 10 user, we will do free out of the box. If the users are more than 10, then there again there will be some charge in doing the deployment. But up to 10, it is free. So under POC period also, we will do the deployment and then give the access to you. Similarly, I showed you a demo, right? Similarly, we will give you 10 users, and every user might have desktop access or remote access. Right? Totally depends on your requirement. We also provide training as well. So once you subscribe to Windows Virtual Desktop, we will give you a training on how to use it, how to manage it, and if you need any help as well, you do have our support email ID. You can, talk to. You can connect with us, or you can connect with the help of Atna. Okay. So this is the current offer which is going on for WVD. Now I can take questions as well on Windows Virtual Desktop. If anyone have any questions about it, please feel free to ask.
Thank you all for participating. You can reach out to both Tech Data and Airna team for any clarification. Hello? Who is talking like? Hello, Sabriya.